let's make some power, organization, and maintenance upgrades to our C Dory 22 for the upcoming 2024 spring season. Time for some adventures.
I've been wanting to do these improvements for a while. Some things improve the usability of the boat, and others are just those things that I've put off for too long now. We all know how that is, but it certainly feels good to get things done before getting back out on the water. First, I wanted to improve this storage area under the galley. There's a lot of cubic space that goes unused, and a shelf would serve me well under here. So I take to my carpentry tools and get to work creating a shelf that's a bit unusual, but should work well on the boat. It feels good to be creating something with my hands. Did you know that my first YouTube videos were woodworking videos? The idea is to create a shelf to support lightweight items like clothes and life vests, and to do so in a minimal way as to shave off a bit of weight and to try to encourage airflow at the same time. After sealing the plywood, I took to the sewing machine to hem my mesh fabric. Now this fabric has quickly become a favorite for boat projects, and I'll leave a link to it below if you want to grab some for yourself. I carefully secured the fabric to the shelf with some stainless panhead screws to create my tramp, which I think turned out great. Now, luckily, it fit really well, so I secured it in place with a few L-brackets, making sure to leave space between the shelf and the hull. I didn't want the two rubbing together as the hull flexed when the boat was underway. Then I added a length of stash pockets that I sewed from the same mesh fabric to give me a spot for little things. I think the space has been improved quite a bit without much added weight and work involved. Exactly what I was looking for. I also replaced the teak organizer that was on the back of the cabinet door. While it worked, it never worked really well, so another section of mesh pockets were made up on the sewing machine to be the answer. This should be another improvement under the galley that I'm looking forward to using. Next was another section of pockets for smaller items that I wanted to have easy access to. This was attached to a block of wood that I secured to the hull side with epoxy. When I'm operating the boat, this stuff is easy to reach and always out of the way. I also wanted a dedicated place for my shoes. Of course, a mesh pocket was the easiest answer. Plus, my two favorite shoes deserve their own home, my Earth Runners and my Astral Low-Yak ACs. Next on my to-do list is replacing my bow roller on the trailer and the roller on the bow roller of the boat. Yes, that sounds confusing because, well, it is, but it's the best explanation I could come up with. So this was a simple unbolt and rebolt process, but the trailer roller needed replacing as it had hardened quite a bit and was leaving marks on the bow when loading and unloading. The bow roller for my anchor rod I wanted to replace because the black roller was degrading and leaving black spots on my anchor rod, or anchor line, and probably chafing it more than a new roller. Oh my goodness, how many comments have I seen saying I needed to replace my windshield wipers? It seems like 100, and they started coming over a year ago. Well, I hope this makes you all happy, but in truth, I'll appreciate it as well, and I should have done it earlier. But it was very tricky finding the replacements for this. After a few strikeouts, I finally found the right ones. Now, before we get into expanding our solar capacity, I removed the spotlight which had been damaged nearly 2 years ago when my boat was struck by lightning. Unfortunately, I didn't realize it was damaged at the time of my insurance claim, so there went $250. Now, these holes need to be filled, so I started by chamfering them with a bit that isn't designed for that purpose, but it worked. Now, then I taped the bottom so my filler wouldn't drip through and I'd have a smooth surface on the underside. Marine Tex is my filler of choice and is very popular for this application. Simply mix up the resin and the hardener in the proper ratio. Now, I was estimating, but apparently I estimated perfectly, and then slap it into place. One thing you want to be conscious of is not to leave any air bubbles or voids in the filler. Now, I did that by trying to carefully dab the stuff down into the actual hole. But when I was done, I came back with a brad nail, kind of poking it back and forth, trying to get the air bubbles out. And then after it's set up, I removed the tape on the underside, and it was done. With all this hard work, I can't forget to thank Element for sponsoring this video and you good folks for trusting my suggestion for Element and purchasing it yourself. It's a product I personally consume daily because I know the benefits of it. It doesn't matter who you are, you can benefit from consuming it too. I like to have mine with some pure water from my Blue Vua filter system, which pairs perfectly with an Element packet, which has 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Zero sugar and zero fluff ingredients. It's sweetened with stevia, so it doesn't even break your fast. Plus, it's a smart alternative to something you may already be paying for and drinking that's probably not good for you. I'm sure you can find an Element flavor that will bring you as much enjoyment as Drink X. Right now, Element is offering a special to you guys. If you go through my link, you get a free sample 8-pack with any order. So do your health a favor and visit drinklmnt.com/TripSmith for your Element fix. Now my suggestion is to grab a 30-pack of one flavor and sample the other 8 flavors. Thank you for supporting those who support the channel. Now to start the solar install, I have a really cool flexible 100 watt panel from Booge RV. These are super durable and you can technically walk on them. They come with some super sticky strips on the back of them so you can secure it to a variety of surfaces. So once I had it in place, it's as simple as removing the backing from the stickiness and pressing it down on the cabin top. Once this thing is stuck, I'm very confident it's not going anywhere. Actually, I'm kind of wondering how someone will ever get it off. My next challenge was deciding how I wanted to connect it to my system. Now there's 2 different options, wire in series or parallel. I'm not going to explain the differences, I'm just going to show you the easiest way to determine which is best for your situation because either could work better. But the sun wasn't out, so we'll come back to that after our next task is done.
Next up, I'm going to replace my trailer tie-down straps. I've had these for a couple years and they've never failed me, but they're starting to break a little bit. I mean, they still hold the boat. Well, I think they do. Actually, the other one, let's go look at it. When I'm at the boat ramp, I'm able to secure the straps, but then when I get home, one is particularly loose. And I don't think this is just the boat shifting while I'm moving down the highway. I think it's actually turning and coming loose. So I'm gonna replace these.
I decided to replace the trailer straps with a similar product, but a more beefy version from Strapano. Just taking these out of the box, I could tell they were going to work better than my older straps, which, if we're being honest, were some of the cheaper ones I had found online. Holding them side by side, you can see that the stainless on the Strapano straps is thicker. Also, they appear to have a little more heft to them in general, which I'm hoping reflects on the overall build quality. The ratcheting system was certainly impressive, which will make things easier, and they have a dual locking mechanism which might eliminate me getting home and finding a loose strap. Install is a simple bolt-on, and these came with an additional bracket that my particular trailer setup needed. I didn't have before, so that was a plus. Now before tightening them down all the way, I hooked the strap up to be sure that my angle was right. Once it looked good, I cranked down on the bolts. After getting the first one on, I'm pretty happy with it, and the bracket really made a difference as my previous strap wasn't exactly straight in line with the direction the strap needed to go, which made things a bit awkward. Now it didn't take long on the opposite side and I was good to go. These have a working load of 550 pounds and a braking strength of 1,650 pounds. That should be plenty as they aren't meant to hold the boat, they're actually meant just to hold the trailer to the boat.
As you can see, it's a beautiful sunny day. I don't think there's a cloud behind or in front of the sun right now. So let's see how much wattage we're getting from our solar panels. Currently, 110, 111 watt input. And that's with both panels wired in, what was that, series or parallel? One or the other. Now we're gonna go up and switch it over, maybe just to the old panel, and see how much extra power we're getting. Oh man. 104. That's not much difference at all. Okay, So let's go to the other setup. It's not gonna look as clean up there, but we're gonna try it. Positive. It's kind of a jumble, but we can improve that if this improves our setup. So what will be 111 or so? Please, Lord, let this be better. All right, hey, 157, 156. Okay, that confirms it. That's the setup we're gonna go with. So now I'm gonna figure out how to do that the most cleanly and zip tie it all up and make it look good. I think I've got her tidied up pretty well. That's the best I could do without maybe extending these wires, and that would just add extra connectors and stuff down here. Granted, I could do all my connections down in the cabin, but it's just not set up that way right now. If I don't like how this looks over time, I may change it up. One thing I may try to do is find something to kind of wrap this up and protect it. If you have any ideas of what might be something good to cover that up with, I'd love to hear it. Leave it in the comments, all right? Because I really don't know it. There's probably something good out there that you guys know of. I'm very happy with the way that these improvements turned out, and I'm ready for some awesome adventures. You guys, the next year is going to be great for the channel, for us. See you then. Love ya.